Dumelang Molweni and welcome right here on Morning Express on Galaxy Universal Network. And the name is Harmony Mbele. And these are the leading headlines of this hour. Gauteng Premier David Makhura says that Tshwane will never be the same. Economic Freedom Fighter Secretary General receives death threats. South Africa's economy takes another hard hit. Former Eskom Bird Chairman Zola Tsotsi spews venom at the state capture inquiry. Eastern Cape government launches Tourism Month. And on the last one on entertainment news, Keeping Up with the Kardashians runs out of steam. And these are the leading headlines of this hour. Gauteng Premier David Makhura expresses his contentment with the Tshwane Special Economic Zone project, which he said promises to take the nation's capital into a formidable economic hub. Makhura, speaking on Tuesday at a Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone while assessing the progress of construction and investment projects, announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa during this year's SONA, said that it has always been clear to him that this project was an exciting one. And take a look at this.
So how many people are working here? I'm representing the Department of Employment. Yeah.
The people that are working here are now sitting well over 104.
And how many women companies are here?
Women companies, the diesel supply is led by a woman. The PPE supply is a lady as well. The food structure there that you see, it's a lady as well supplying it. And we've got good representation in the site administration and site management team, which are ladies.
So the next step, when you get SMMEs, you must get women in engineering as well. There are companies like that.
Oh, correct.
Exist, yes.
No, for sure.
And
You will
young
note.
people as well.
No, for sure. You will note even the consultant has got an all-women team led by a senior gentleman as well. You know, so we try to emulate the same because we believe in development of everybody, not just one-sided.
So in November, you remember November is a big milestone.
Correct. Yes.
We did sort turning in November. So where will you be in November?
November I would have done with portrait.
What will be done?
The earthworks here.
Including women.
The Premier, who was joined by Deputy Minister Fikile Majola, MEC for Provincial Economic Development and Administrator Mponawa, amongst many others, on a walkabout on Africa's first automotive city, also had this to say.
Mamelodi will never be the same again. It will never be the same again. But it is also the first SEZ where before you even start to build, you have companies that have enlisted. You saw those companies that say, all the other SEZs, one of the big problems is that they build big industrial parks and then there's no occupation or there's not enough occupants in those parks. They are empty. They are waiting for an investor to come. Most of those SEZs were built before there were investors who made commitments that no. So you see this one, the investors, the 4 billion they were referring, so they are building with specifications for specific companies that are already waiting. As soon as the construction is for their parts, they move in. So it's not like, it's not going to be empty. So we're not saying that in the end it will create 20,000 jobs because we are praying and hoping to do so. They are building with specifications, so the investors are already enlisted. And that's why in that sense it also makes it the first it's a new model. In those two senses that is owned by 3 spheres, in those two senses that you build with already investors having been enlisted.
And moving rather further on to the stories, Economic Freedom Fighter Secretary General Dlamini Marshall revealed that he received death threats from a racist white man as calls for peaceful protests be loud from South Africa's third largest party leaders. In a clip posted on the party's Twitter pages, an identified man who labels Dlamini as a K-word baboon also threatens to shoot and slaughter Dlamini.
Gaffer, do you remember Witwolf? Barend Stradel. You remember him?
Who's that?
Witwolf. Go look, Google Witwolf, Barend Stradel.
Is that your ancestor?
No, mate. That's what I will do to you all, baboons. Go look there. Barend Stradel, Witwolf. My name is Barend Stradel. Have you got a pen? You're writing.
Yeah.
Can you write?
No, I can hear you.
Can you read and write? Okay, Barend Stradel.
But send location, man. Stop wasting time. Send your location.
No, send it on Google. Go look there.
No, but
My location is all there.
No, send your location now. The live one. When you go to the toilet, we follow you everywhere. We want to come now. Quickly, let's finish it.
Live location.
Yes, send it now on this number now. Quickly.
Who's gonna come, Marshall?
No, we're all coming. Just send.
All you baboons, you are coming.
Okay, how many
You
do you want?
banana? What do you want? Banana?
Just send
You are
location.
hungry?
Just send location.
We can start shooting. We throw banana on the floor, you come and we shoot you.
You're wasting time, man. You're a coward.
I'll shoot you. Wait, you coming, Bedford?
Yeah, a blabber
I
mouth.
will kill you, Papa.
Yeah, a blabber mouth.
I will kill your mom and your dad. And I'll slaughter you.
Is something rising?
No, I feel good when you're dead in the ground. Good. Marshall is dead. Big Marshall, so close down clicks, huh? Big man. Big man. Fuck you, Marshall. Papa.
Meanwhile, following the decision by the Gauteng High Court to grant the lifestyle, beauty and health retailer an urgent interdict bearing the Red Brigade from threatening and intimidating Clicks staff and customers, Dlamini called on EFF members to protest peacefully.
Fighters, ground forces, today was another successful day. We made sure that we're holding the racists accountable. We made sure that we are making the racists to run. Tomorrow it's Wednesday. All of us in the morning, we are back on the ground to our nearest Click stores. Let's make sure that racists in this country, they've got nowhere to run. Today was another beautiful victory. We defeated them in court when they thought they can stop our constitutional rights. Racists must be defeated in South Africa. We must push hard, fighters. The mandate is clear. Up until Friday, we are chasing the racists away. We must chase them. We must find them. We must defeat them everywhere we find them. Fighters, victory is certain. No retreat. No surrender. Aluta, continue.
This comes in a wake of Clicks publishing a racist Theresa May hair advert on its website, which described natural black hair as damaged, dry and frizzy. And as you are about to see this, where EFF members are actually helping Clicks staff members to actually put back the stuff that were put down and damaged. So take a look at this. And moving right along, Statistics South Africa unveiled that the South African economy contracted by an astonishing 51% in the second quarter of 2020, as the country stumbles from the hammering of the COVID-19 enforced lockdown. Announcing the news on Tuesday, statistician General Riseng Maluleka described the developments as a severe punch in the gut of the country's economy. Maluleka further went on to say that South Africa's economy suffered a significant contraction during April, May and June, when the country operated under a widespread lockdown restrictions in response to COVID-19. The period coincided with the hardest levels of the country's lockdown, as government limited movement and economic activities in an attempt to curb the spread of COVID-19. Stats SA also revealed that gross domestic product dropped by just over 16% between the first and second quarter of 2020, giving an annualized growth rate of 51%. Maluleka said the construction drop was an annualized slowdown of 6.1% recorded in the first quarter of 2009 during the global financial crisis. Former Eskom board chairperson Zola Tsotsi said that on the eve of a scheduled board meeting, he received a phone call from former President Jacob Zuma telling him that the meeting should be postponed. Tsotsi is back at the State Capture Commission, where former CEO Tsidiso Matane said on Monday that Tsotsi was the one who informed him that that had been suspended, and talking about the meeting rather. Tsotsi said that Zuma told him to expect a call postponing the meeting, and he later received that call.
With the Guptas, I seem to recall, was at the ANC January 8th statement, which took place, which took place in Nelspruit. I seem to recall it was 2014, maybe I stand to be corrected. I'm not sure 100% that it was 2014, but yes. In any case, at that function, I happened to be seated. I was requested to sit at a table where the ANC's top six were seated together with two of the Gupta brothers, myself and the chairperson of the SABC, because we had provided some sponsorship to or some support to the
meeting,
yes, to that function.
Yes.
And that's the first time I got introduced to two of the Gupta brothers, two of the older brothers.
Okay, let's just get that clear. This was the ANC January 8 rally.
It was a dinner.
It was a dinner.
Yes, a fundraising.
Which preceded
yes.
the January 8 rally.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So the top six of the ANC were sitting at the main table, I guess.
Yes.
And you were invited to go and sit with them.
Yes.
And you say there were two Gupta brothers who were also sitting at the main table with the top six.
Correct.
Do you remember which ones those are, those two Gupta brothers, or do you not remember?
Yes, I do. It was Ajay Gupta and Atul Gupta.
Atul, yeah. Now, apart from the top 6, yourself and the 2 Gupta brothers, who else was?
Well, that was the first edition of the headlines and stories that we've had for you this hour. But quickly after this quick commercial ad break, I bring to you an amazing young, bold woman who goes by the name of Nosi Pohani, who's joining me quickly after this quick commercial ad break. See you after this.
Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Chicken portions are an easy way to feed a crowd.
I've just started to incorporate all my ingredients.
We're going to put this inside of a hot cast iron skillet.
You want to really fill up on great protein.
It's now time to sample the chef's dish. Look at this.
I know.
Like that?
Feel the excitement.
The chicken is on the spot.
Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Hold on. To make it through this journey alive, you're gonna need someone to teach you the ninja way.
Don't just stand there, kill someone!
Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat.
Welcome back from the ad break. As I told you just before we went to that quick commercial ad break, that I'll be joined by a pioneer who is the National Youth Ambassador, and she is Nosi Pohani. Good morning, Nosi Pohani.
Good morning, my brother, and good morning to your viewers. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, and I hope that the viewers too are doing most great at this hour, because you've joined us and graced us with your presence today.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Thank you very much. I think we should just get right into it. You are a young person that advocates and speaks for young people and employment. So talk to me about the youth dialogue that you are always a part of, and the conversations between young people that are so important to you.
I must tell you, all the youth conversations that I have, the dialogues that I host, they're always emotional. You know, emotional in a way that some young people feel like there's no hope for them anymore in this country. And it breaks me to see this, because, you know, it's something that we've been fighting for our young people to be the ones to be handed the opportunities, to be handed the resources in order for them to make a living. And it's so sad when we still have to argue, we still have to fight for the same thing we've been fighting for since, 1976, when we think of the youth, the Soweto uprising. So it's really, really saddening, but you know what, in the unity, I always try to preach about unity, that we need to unite like the youth of 76 if we want to get indeed these resources and opportunities. We cannot, let's say, leave the ball in someone else's court. It is our future that we need to take charge of, so we need to make serious decisions and be firm on the decisions that we make. But the most importantly, we have to be united in it all.
Oh, I love that. We have to unite in a form, but I think you're mentioning fighting. The group of 1976 show that to us. But what is our fight today as young people looking from the ages of 18 till 35? Employment is one of them, but what is that thing that we should continuously be fighting for as young people?
Yeah, I do think employment is a high issue, and you know what? I seriously think we're going about it the wrong way. Right now, we're in an era, we're in the 4IR, we're in a digital space. It is now the opportunity for young people to actually become the owners, to become the producers, become, people who are in the forefront of every industry. And what we only need right now is resources.
Yes.
We don't need jobs. We need resources. We need to make sure that every young person has a device. In the community, there is connectivity plants, let's say the Wi-Fi hotspot. So we need to ensure such resources are within every household, every community, because right now we're in an age where young people can literally make money for themselves, not tied to any company, not tied to any brand, but literally just tied to their own gift and talent. So we need to take up space, as you said, and we need to make sure that the government and other private entities help us in attaining these resources.
But here's a question another young person would ask at home, that where is the help going? Is it only going to be for Model C school kids? Is it going to be for those that can afford the elite ones? Or is the township going to benefit? Because if we're looking at stats with Wi-Fi, with the frequency of network coverage within the township is not that great. And we are in COVID-19, e-learning is something that we are in. What is your take and stance with that, and making sure that the government can actually go in and help within the township schools, and making sure that every learner in school has the same opportunities no matter where that school is situated in?
Yeah, for me, we need to start with those schools in disadvantaged areas, schools in rural communities, and it really can be done, because I did it with the Nelson Mandela Museum. We did a whole youth competition to win a tablet, and we basically said, write an essay to your letter. Not to your letter, to your school. So the same way you submit an essay at school, now you submit it the same way, and the teachers then forwarded it to the Nelson Mandela Museum. We then read through all the essays and said, okay, now the next letter that you're going to write is on a tablet, on Microsoft Word.
Yes.
And we literally gave them that opportunity. And my brother, it all starts with us.
Yes.
If we sit and wait for I don't know who to come and deliver devices, we're going to be waiting for a long time. If we can just come together and say, you know what, I have a few funds, you have a few funds, why can't we help the child next door? And that's all it takes, really, because now that child has a tablet, and that child feels empowered that even if I'm in this community, there's someone who still cares about my future too.
Well, you mentioned museum, and it takes me to my next question, where you are saying that it's all about us and taking initiative for the greater things that we want to do as a country, as young people, and being those leading young people within any force to be reckoned with. Here's Heritage and Culture in September. Is there more to be done to teach young people about heritage and culture within our space and time?
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I love, again, about this whole digital era that we're in, it brings information right to the tip of our fingers. Like we have YouTube, we have Google, we can really go into where am I from? What is this culture? What is culture? What is heritage?
Yes.
Really understanding the basics of it. And again, what I'm doing is with Flex City Hype, we're shooting a docu-series where kids are going to be explaining to each other about the different traditions and cultures we have in South Africa. So we have to go back now and reteach our history, but within this new space that we're in.
But hey, man, it's a beautiful one where technology, the fourth industrial revolution, as you mentioned, should play a key point in us trying to understand where we come from and where we are going as young people. The pandemic has hit, COVID-19, and it has affected not only our parents, our grandfathers, mothers, but it affected our schooling system. What are your words of hope, of courage, of saying that we can conquer as young people, for those that are watching, saying that I'm defeated, I'm in my matric year and it's hard. What are your words of wisdom to them?
Well, my words to them, or to anyone who's been feeling so strained by this pandemic, is you're like a spring. I'd like everyone to imagine a spring. The more pressure you apply to a spring, the more energy you fill that spring up with for it to bounce back. So don't see this whole pandemic as being squashed and nothing better for you is coming. Take this pandemic as, okay, is this career that I wanted to enter really the career that I want to do? Because what I think the pandemic has also done is brought in a lot of thoughts. Am I in the correct career? Am I doing the correct subjects? You know, even speaking about grade 9, your subject choice, which is very important. I think a lot of people can see now which subject would be, would be essential, should I put it, in any case when you have such a pandemic or any other thing that may happen. So be the spring that you are in this life. Allow pressure to build you, build that energy within you, and bounce back.
Oh man, that is such a beautiful word. I think, but bounce back like the spring, apply the pressure. But take us through what the initiative that you are with e-learning and Bogning books. Take us through that and explain to us what is it for our viewers so that they can also understand what is e-learning, what is Bogning books.
So basically, my brother, the whole thing about me is making everything available to the poorest of communities. And you know what, I stood and saw that during this pandemic, not all schools were embarking on, the virtual learning and online learning. I then said, no, what about that child who now thinks, oh, that means my education is not taken seriously? So again, together with the Nelson Mandela Museum, we came up with the concept of e-learning. And basically this allows every child to experience this online learning era that we headed into. So despite your school not jumping in on it yet, if you have a device, we assist with data, Vodacom assists with data, and then what happens is you learn online just like other kids. And also with the bargain books, as I said, one thing that's very important to me as well is knowledge. And, I feel like books are, a fountain of knowledge. That's where we can get our knowledge from. But do people have money to buy books? That's another thing. So with bargain books, we literally giving books away each time. It's a book giveaway each time, making sure that, our young brothers and sisters are they also know and they are reminded that they matter, they're important, and there's someone who's thinking about them. So we literally give them books each time.
Oh, I hear you, but I think I'm really fascinated about where did the love for young people all begin for you? Because you're mentioning so many things that are really directed for young people, which is saying that learn as a young child, be in school, be informed, and allow it to be that well of wisdom that you get into, even with books, read more. Where did your passion and love for young people specifically begin, and even as an ambassador for the youth?
For me, it's always been there, but I can say it's been derived from, the hero of my family, Chris Honey. He literally did everything he could for young people. And it also brings me so much anger and sadness when I see his legacy is not really uplifted in terms of actions. So I was like, okay, but then if I don't do it, who do I expect it to be done by? And I have the same love for young people, for philanthropy as a whole. And I saw that, let me pick up the baton and let me make sure that, he gave us the ability to sit here today and have this conversation. And now I want to give the ability to the next generation to own exactly what we're doing now, to own the next Zoom platform, to be the owners. So that's basically what I want to do within the young people of our country.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. How do people get a hold of you across every social media platforms if they do want to engage with you, or even if corporate is watching at this point and they want to be part of the initiatives that you are part of?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Nosipho Honey. You can send me a DM there, or my email address is also linked there. I'd advise Instagram, so at Nosipho Honey, but I'm also on Twitter, Facebook at Nosipho Honey Kumalo.
Thank you very much for joining us today right here on Morning Express. Have a good day. Have an amazing morning continuing forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was Nosipwani right here on Morning Express. We just spoke about education, philanthropy, and all that she's doing within her space. So from myself, Harmony Mbele, it is a good morning. Have a great day ahead of yourself. This is how we close off the show. Good day and have an amazing one. Adios.